What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today I will be doing a technical analysis breakdown for MSTR strategy. And we're going to be also looking at Bitcoin and some ratio charts against Bitcoin. So let's take a look at the analysis. Let's begin the analysis. Let's just do a weekly review for MSTR. Well, on Monday, it opened up at 249. And then since then, it has been trading down practically 5 days in a row. Monday was red. Tuesday was red, Wednesday was red, Thursday was red, Friday was red as well. So 5 days in a row it was red. So pretty much of a terrible week for MSTR long-term holders as of right now, and bulls. So it's tracking towards the 150 level. That is the measurement target, and it looks like we're going to probably get there. It could be drawn a little bit more accurately. This is all one leg right here. Let me go and drag it over. So again, it's the same size leg. So I'd say if you want to be more precise, right around 143, 144 is most likely going to be the bottom before we see a bounce. Looks like Bitcoin is also down today, and if MSTR was open right now, this would probably be right in the 180s. So it's in a significant decline, and it probably wants to do something like this, just really sink down lower, and then probably see a bounce like that, kind of like a V-bottom reversal. And that's if we even get that bounce. Sometimes you might even see like a lackluster bounce, and then price roll over. So as of right now, the prior week was bearish. I'm expecting this week to continue to be bearish. Bitcoin is really not showing any signs of reversing right now. Even if it is, this thing, it doesn't have to track Bitcoin one for one. Again, it's not an ETF, and it has not been tracking one for a while now, because Bitcoin is not down 50% like this stock is, right? From the high to current price, that's actually 62%, 63% of a drop. And if you just do it from like the 440s, that's about a 54%. So usually when a stock drops that much, especially when everything else is looking kind of toppy, like Nvidia, Meta, then I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a top right here, and just expect it to be and plan accordingly, right? So if it is a top, plan accordingly. It's most likely going to drop 80% or more, and it's probably going to take about a year for that to happen, typically. So 80% takes it about 105, and 90% takes it to about $54. So we can put a box and a range in there to estimate that out. So let's go into see, I already have a vertical line here. End of next year is probably going to take maybe even less than a year to get there, but this is the box I'm expecting price to come into eventually. Let's go and change the color. Let's go and make it orange. So we have this orange box right here. I'll put the highlighter in it too, so it's more apparent. So expecting price to come back in here sometime next year. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to get there within a week or two or a month or two or several months. It could take a while. Timing is impossible, but with, if history repeats or just slightly rhymes, and if it drops even less than it did last cycle, then it's going to be coming back into this box right here. So that's what I'm expecting for MSTR. And we could also see a rally. But again, it would need to really even if we went up to the all-time highs, what makes you think we're going to go up more than that, right? A lot of stocks hit the prior all-time highs and get rejected, right? I just did analysis on a couple other stocks that just did that. Coinbase. Let's take a look at Coinbase. Coinbase hit its prior all-time high and had a double top and got rejected. So, price did come back up to the high, but got rejected. Shopify, it came back up to this prior high and then got rejected. Again, this is just two examples. I'm pretty sure if I keep on going, you're going to see more and more stocks like that. So let's go back to MSTR. So even if MSTR were to do almost the impossible, which is rally back up to the highs from here, what makes you think is not going to ever see a decline, a large decline, right? So that's just how the market works. If we were to come up to the prior all-time high, we can always still come back down into this box. It's just it's not like something to avoid, right? I don't think it's going to just avoid the box, below 100 and above 50, just because even if we do see all-time high, we can always see a double top and then a decline into the lows. I don't think we're even gonna get that high. It doesn't look that likely. I'm open to invalidation, but this is what I see the pattern playing out as. very similar to last cycle. Maybe go a little bit lower, 150, bottom out, come back up to the 250s, find resistance, sell off back into the box, and then just trade sideways until Bitcoin bottoms out. So that's probably the pattern playing out, and as right now, it's on track to do that. So we'll leave it on the chart for now. No reason to change things unless they're invalidated, but this is the pattern for MSTR. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. So multiple red weeks in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red weeks in a row. Typically what I've noticed, again, this is not like anything I have researched and there's no strong data to prove it, but typically I've seen 7 red weeks in a row. Typically you'll see the number 7 play out for these candles. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red weeks. Typically you'll see a 7th one. That's what I noticed. The number 7 seems to be important. I'm not sure if that also works in the reverse, meaning to the upside, but I've definitely seen it multiple times. I just never had any data to support that. But I think red week looks likely to happen also next week. It's not guaranteed, but it does seem likely. So MSTR in trouble, definitely no longer in a bull market. It's in a bear market, and it would take a lot for it to reverse back up to the highs, right? Bitcoin would need to really, double. And if that doubles, that doesn't mean this will double as well. Even if this doubles, that's just $400, right? So this thing is done, right? So just expect to come back down to the box. And I don't know how long it'll take. It can take a month or two. It could take several months. It take it a year or more. It doesn't matter. But typically, this is how it's going to play out, in my opinion. So MSTR in trouble in the short term, and then long term, well, when it bottoms out, I'm expecting it to really rip up higher, right? At least double off the prior high, so get to 1,000, and then we can even start entertaining those higher prices that were supposed to probably happen this cycle, but it was not. It was just a very weak cycle. So anyway, that's what happened for MSTR. That's enough of that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also in trouble, but it's bottoming out very soon. I don't think this decline is going to last that much longer. Why? Because we just hit a range measure move target. If I double the size of the range that price broke out of, so this is the range pattern, right? Price goes sideways, and then it broke out a same magnitude as the size of the range, right? So we double the range, and you can see that be going sideways. And if we double it, it would take it to about this position right here. It would be about this size. So that takes it right to about low 90s, 92,000, 93,000, which is right where we are at. Also, that happened on the last range as well. So we were going sideways, we doubled the range, and that's exactly where price started bottoming out. We barely went below it, and then we saw a strong reversal. So range breakout is met like we did last cycle, or last move right here. Looks very similar to what's going on right here. We even took out the prior low, and then we saw a nice rally take place. This one right here, a final flush down. So we could have seen the final flush down below this low right here and this low. But either way, it's basically a range measure move target met. It's not guaranteed, but it's definitely 1 point favoring the bulls. Now we can even add more points to the bulls, right? Well, look at this bullish trend line. We're right at this bullish trend line that has been in play when it confirmed back here in October of last year. This was more confirmation right here, this bounce when the range breakout occurred, and now we're back at the same level after a range breakout measure move target. So again, people are worried right here when we're basically potentially right here, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen exactly like last time, but there's no reason to be worried when the pattern, the bullish structure is still intact, right? The technicals are telling me what to think. And the technicals aren't telling me to panic because the technicals aren't panicking themselves. So the technicals are still really, bullish, right? This is the worst possible time to get out. If you held on to this long and you were thinking getting out, well, why don't you wait a little bit longer and see what happens at this trend line in range measure move target? That's how I'm thinking. If I waited this long, might as well just wait a little bit more, a couple more weeks, and then we'll probably have an idea. And again, this can drag on for a while, right? This trend has been very weak and, taking its time. So if you just extrapolate the trend line, it's going to take a while before, we see something good again, right? It might take until Q1 and Q2 to see a top. And I really think that might happen. It's going to confuse a lot of people. It's going to confuse a lot of people thinking, oh, this was a top. Why are we still going up? And then a lot of other people saying, well, we're never going to go back down because we just go up. and then that's when the price will reverse, right? It's just going to be trapping. It's just a trap, right? Trapping the shorts, trapping the longs. That's what the market's trying to do. It's trying to trap everyone out. Bitcoin's price divided by MSTR's price gets you this ratio, and it looks like it's ready for it's technically in an exponential move higher, and it's just ready to just blast up, right? Which makes sense with Bitcoin bottoming out and ready for a move up higher, while this chart looks ready for a huge push up higher. MSTR also looking like it wants to bottom out, but it looks like Bitcoin will probably outperform it. And then this one right here, Bitcoin's price, gold's price divided by gold's price divided by Bitcoin's price gets you this ratio, and it's about to top out, right? I'm not saying it will top out, but it's coming to a top area, this measurement target. We have two massive legs up, and that's typically where the trend can reverse. One leg up right here, correction, second leg up. So with Bitcoin bottoming out right here, where I already mentioned the trend line, the range measurement target, while also the ratio against gold is also topping out. This looks like a huge, you could say like reversal, right? In these commodities where Bitcoin starts outperforming gold instead of gold outperforming Bitcoin like it has been for the past year. And if you use a measuring target, it almost reached this level at the same exact time as well. So for example, measuring targets can be just for price. They can be used for price and for time. How is that possible? Well, look at this arrow, right? I'm measuring it from this low point right here to the high point, right? And that gives you the angle of the move. So it took basically the bulls from this point to this point. It took them that long to get there, okay? Now you move that arrow over to this low, and you would not see what would happen on the right side of the chart, right? This is what you would know historically. And then you see that price is tracking towards that arrow, right? In terms of price and time. And look what you get. Pretty much almost exactly. The arrow was right around December, early December of this year, and we got there pretty much November 14th. So that's pretty much close enough. Now we can probably start a decline either from here or the arrow, early December into about April. So I don't know who's saying we can probably see a top in Bitcoin by April, but I'm going to be taking that position right now, where if Bitcoin has not topped, and that's a big if it has not topped, I think it might run into April, around that time, probably Q2, give or take a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, maybe into Q1, that's when we see a top in Bitcoin. And that's if we have not seen a top already. If we have seen a top already, then it's pretty easy to do what's going to happen. It's pretty easy to plan forward. Well, just take the high, drop it down 70%, 75%, whatever, $36,000 within a year. So it's very simple, right? If we have topped, most likely we're going to be dropping at least 50%, that's 60,000, typically 70%, right? A little bit less than prior drop because it's a bigger market. So let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Instead of 77%, we give it 70%. So $37,000 by the end of next year. So it's very easy to say what's going to happen, right? It's very simple. If it topped exactly where it should have been in terms of cycle, like the other cycles did. And 70%, 75% takes it to about between in low to high 30s within a year. And it's very easy, right? You just do that. But if we have not topped, this thing can drag on to about maybe 170,000 to 200,000 by April of next year, right? So let's see if that happens. I'm saying I don't think the trend line has been invalidated yet, but let's put a vertical line for April of next year, which is right about here, April 1st. I don't think it should take longer than that. It might even take less time than that, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. And that's a big if we have not topped already. So basically what I'm trying to say is that this chart shows that gold potentially has maybe not has topped, but I think Bitcoin can start outperforming it. Again, this is a big if. Patterns don't always play out. Sometimes we might just do something like that, something insane, right? But I'm going with what is more probable. What is more probable is that we had a large leg down, two legs up, finally coming to an end for outperformance against gold outperforming Bitcoin. Now it's time for Bitcoin to outperform gold into potentially April of next year if it moves at the same pace as it historically has done. And again, gold looks like Bitcoin looks like also go into an exponential move up higher, outpacing MSTR because MSTR is in a bear market. And even if Bitcoin does move up higher, MSTR might not move high as high because of how much damage has been done on the chart, right? This is not in a bullish structure. Look at this chart right here, and then look at this chart right here, right? Let's go to the weekly. This is the weekly chart for Bitcoin, and this is the weekly chart for MSTR. Which one would you rather buy and hold, right? I mean, this is very simple. You can ask anybody, and they would tell you this one looks more bullish than this one, right? This one looks like it's in a bear market making new lower lows. This one has not even taken out this low right here. So technically, it's still making higher highs and higher lows. Yes, no one wants to see a 25% decline, but it's still technically not damaged, right? The trend is still fine. And this is the worst possible time to be bearish. Why? Because we are at the range measure move target, like this move right here, and we are still at the above the bullish trend line. With this ratio against gold potentially topping out. Again, it's not guaranteed to happen. We could also have drop 70% back to about 35,000 next year, but the bullish case is still on the table, and it's favoring the upside more than the bearish case favoring the downside. So all I have today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But as right now, the trend is not over for Bitcoin, and it looks like it wants to continue rallying. It's definitely taking its time. It's definitely very annoying. You just got to have patience. But that has been the trend. That has been the personality of the trend since it began, right? Trends and stocks have different personalities. You can see that this personality back here was kind of a slow rise up, then an exponential move. This one was a quick exponential move, and then a retest, and then a break. This one is kind of a slow grind up. So every single cycle is different. But in terms of time, in terms of the lows, they kind of come back to the same point. That's all I have for today. This is Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.